Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday, the 24th of December, 2020. I hope everyone is well. I hope you all are healthy. I hope that if you are sick, that you're getting better rapidly. I hope that you have all your needs met as far as food and shelter and clothing in this most difficult period of time to live on the earth. I also have asked for a special blessing upon those in the healthcare field who are risking their lives on a daily basis to help save other lives. Double blessings upon you. So last night there was a basketball game with our New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. And we said it was going to be a difficult game. There's a lot to uncover here, but overall, we played a terrible game. It was bad. I don't care. There's positives in it, but we'll talk about that. It was bad. But before we start, last night we also got a glimpse of what the rotation is, at least for now, at least for the next 10 games. It appears it was Julius Randle, Reggie Bullock, Mitchell Robinson, Elfrid Payton, and R.J. Barrett in the starting lineup. Then you had Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox, IQ, and Alec Burks coming off the bench. They did not give any minutes to Iggy Brasdegas or Dennis Smith Jr. or Jared Harper. We didn't expect Brasdegas and Harper to get much, but Dennis Smith Jr. was the big news. And of course, Frank Ntilikina probably would not have gotten off the bench had not IQ gotten hurt, which it looks like he had some sort of hip pointer. Don't know how serious it is yet. They'll let us know. He may miss the Saturday night game against Philly, IQ, but I'm not sure. Of course, I don't know what's going on specifically. The Knicks will probably let us know probably during the course of these next 2 or 3 days, obviously. So, but that's the rotation. And I said before, and I'll say it again, I will trust what Tom Thibodeau says the rotation is. That's it. If Frank is not in the rotation, he's not in the rotation. He's my favorite Knick, but I mean, some of y'all get it twisted. That's not like, I do believe he's a winning piece, but if he's not in the rotation, that's the coach's decision. And I'm just going to stick with that. See, it is what it is. I'm not going to question who plays and who doesn't play. I think that's a waste of time. That's what it is. But regarding the game, let's first talk at the positive. Julius Randle was a positive. He's continuing to look to pass first, which is very refreshing to see from him. He also is continuing. He had 9 assists last night. That's really good. And 9 rebounds, really good, and 17 points. He had some foul trouble. I think in the early third quarter, he picked up his 4th. So he had some foul issues. He's putting forth effort on defense. That's really refreshing to see. He's putting forth effort on defense. And he's doing very well if he continue. Now, Obi Toppin played 24 minutes. Now, Randle played 35 minutes last night. Obi Toppin played 24 minutes. Obi Toppin was 3 of 12. All 3 of his shots were on 3-pointers. He was launching 3-pointers. He launched 7 of them last night. And when I say launch, you guys know what I mean. He shoots. It reminds me, so from you old heads, of Garfield. There was a guy back in the day. His name was Garfield Hurd, and he used to shoot like that. The ball would like launch straight up. It would go high. The arc was more than the arc. It was like a launch, and it would go high in the air, higher than most shots. And that seems to be the way Obi shoots his ball. I never noticed that before, but it seems where he shoots his 3 ball. 3 of 7 from 3 for Obi. So he shot a solid 40% from 3. It didn't look that good from where I was sitting. He was missing most of his shot. I guess he's just going through, what a rookie needs to go through to learn how to play in the NBA. Miles Turner had a tremendous game, had 8 blocks, including a big one on Obi Toppin. So Obi played pretty good, but I'm speaking of Julius Randle, and I'm thinking, I'd rather have Julius Randle playing most of those minutes if he's going to play like this, because he really played last night. He took 15 shots. RJ took 15 shots. Obi took 12. Burks took 12. I like the distribution. I'd rather, Julius be more of a third option, as we talked about before, which I think he would have been if IQ hadn't hurt himself. But I really like him in the spot better than Obi at this point. And we let Obi learn behind Julius. I don't know what they're going to do at the trade deadline, but that's what I would think. Okay. Um, Also, of course, the star was RJ Barrett. And we expect RJ to average 20. We talked about that earlier in this before the season started. We expect him to average 20. He really shot the ball extremely well yesterday. He was 3 of 3 from 3-point land, which is, we knew he was improved, but that's really good. And then, of course, he only went to the line. He only shot 2 foul shots, hitting one. So, I mean, he was 11 of 15 from the floor, played very good. His all-round game was pretty good. He got beat a couple times on defense. We'll talk about that. Then there was Alec Burks. Now, Burks, the second unit is Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox, Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, and Emmanuel Quickly. I like the second unit. It's a really good second unit. That's the type of second unit where you can bring them in, you're not missing a beat, on the floor when they're right. So, is what it is. So, Burke scored 22 last night. He was very efficient. He scored his 22 points, on 12 shots, 8 for 9 from the foul line, 2 of 4 from 3-point line. Very efficient. And he played an all around good game as well. I didn't think it was good that Tom Thibodeau tried him at the point guard spot. That seemed obvious. They were trying to avoid Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank, but they abandoned that pretty quick and brought Frank in for a couple minutes before they felt Elfrid Payton was ready to go again, and so they put him back in there. But I hope he doesn't do that again. If try Theo Pinson, try something, but don't put a guy that's out of position for Alec Burke. He is much a wing player, and he should play the wing. But so Alec Burke had a good game. So those are the positives. Then Mitchell Robinson, he only scored 3 points. He was minus 17, but it really doesn't tell the story. Mitchell Robinson was all over the place. He blocked. They only got him officially with 3 blocks, but he really altered much more than that. And he was very much effective in the paint, which brings me to the negatives. I was concerned. I turned on the game in the second quarter, and I was concerned because at the end of the half, the Knicks were up. It was 66-61 at the half. But anytime you give up 60 points in a half, that's not a good sign for you defensively. It's just not. So Indiana gave up 66 and the Knicks gave up 61. The Knicks are not built at this point to be outscoring people, just running up. Even if they did run, they're not built to beat people because they can outscore them. They're built to beat people because they can outdefend them. And the first quarter, they obviously played some good defense, but the second quarter, they played good defense. But what was bothering me, and this is something that I'm feeling like maybe it's just a Thibodeau thing. We know that he likes to play his starters heavy minutes. Randall played 35 minutes. RJ played 34 minutes. The rest of and Burks played 32 minutes. And then Bullock 26, Mitchell Robinson 21. We said Obi Toppin played 24. Kevin Knox only played 18, but that seems to be a typical rotation for him. But what I noticed in the second quarter and the third quarter and the fourth quarter, there were times when his starting unit was obviously gassed. They needed a blow. They needed a break. And he wasn't giving it to them. They was out there. And so I'm thinking that maybe he's going to let them run and get used to it so that as the season goes on, they get stronger because they get used to playing those minutes and running like that. But that's when, to me, the Indiana Pacers started taking more control of the game. And whereas the Knicks were playing really good defense the first part of the first half, like you could say generously that they, you want to be charitable, they played 24 minutes of good basketball. I say they played less than that because even though the game was close for 3 quarters. The game was pretty close, but numbers wise, but they could have, if they played better defense, if they played that defense they started the game with through the whole game, they'd have beat Indiana. They gave up 121 points. That's unacceptable. We cannot be giving up 121 points to anybody. It's just unacceptable. Okay. So, I know IQ was hurt. He was out. He played 12 minutes. He would have definitely played more. He was looking very good when he was out there, just like he was the last couple of games. And again, I expect him to end up starting and playing, heavier minutes. Peyton played okay. But a couple of times his jump shot, his shooting, even from mid range, was just hard to watch. He can run the offense as a point guard. Obviously, he can pass pretty well. Obviously, he does a lot of good little things very well. But he Quickly's better. Quickly's better, even as a rookie. Quickly's a better player. So, and I believe they're gonna eventually have Quickly in the starting lineup. But the defense was really no. We can't have that. And the whole reason we got Tom Thibodeau is to bring defense. So, and again, a lot of it to me was that they were just gassed. I told y'all earlier, a few videos ago, a month or two ago, that I don't like to see scrub point guards get to the basket on us. It just bothers me. If it was any of the elite point guards, if it's Kyrie Irving getting to, okay, that's Kyrie Irving. That's what he does, right? If it's Russell Westbrook, okay, or CP3, any of those guys that is going to get to the basket because that's what they do. But T.J. McConnell, come on, man. T.J. McConnell was breaking through and getting to the basket. And like I said, I feel it was fatigue because I just can't wrap my head around that Elfrid Payton is just going to let a guy like that go by. That's Elfrid Payton's strength. And that's what was going on. T.J. McConnell, I was like, and they were getting a lot. They outscored us. They outscored us in the paint, points in the paint. They dominated the paint. They dominated the boards last night. And I know that we already know Sabonis is a good player. He's tough. We know that he was an all-star last year. He scored 32 last night, had 13 rebounds. We know Turner is good too. We knew coming in we were going to deal with that. But I'm just not accepting having T.J. McConnell, get to the basket at will on us like that. I can't accept that. And I don't think Thibodeau is either. Which again brings me back to, okay, I don't know what their plans are for Frank Ntilikina. If they're going to trade him, they need to go ahead and do it. But they could have used that defense because, like I said, this cat was getting in the lane. He had 5 assists last night, and they were getting all kind of points in the paint because the guards were penetrating and they were getting shots right near the basket, man. And we can't have that. Can't have that. And Mitchell Robinson got in foul trouble early, right? He got in foul trouble early, but he ended up only having 3 fouls for the game. He really did control himself, but he's trying to be everywhere. He needs help. He can't be everywhere. He's as good as he is, he needs somebody else playing defense along the front line. Randall's okay. He's not a great defender. He's trying, but we need better. And Obi too. Obi played a good game defensively. Apparently not good enough. I guess that's what I'm saying. They all put forth effort. They did, but it's not good enough. We got to be better on defense. And like I said, I believe over the course of the season, they will get better. It's not going to be something that they come out killing everybody, but they're going to get better over time, over the course of the season. I can also see if they don't trade Frank Ntilikina, he's going to end up getting time because, look, it was 12. He was on the floor 12 minutes and quickly got hurt. And the way they're pushing these guys, somebody's going to get hurt. They're going to need he said they're going to need all 15 guys, and I believe him because you're going to see Iggy Brasdegas eventually also. Everybody's going to get their chance. But they got to be ready to play defense. I expected everybody to be ready to play defense that was going to be on the floor. That wasn't actually the case. And a couple of times RJ Barrett got beat. Even Frank, he got beat on the back door. And then Bullock got beat on the back door. It was so like schoolyard. I was like, no, man. Okay, so that's what's making me wince this morning. Giving up, if we'd have lost the game 109-107, okay. But to give up 121 points, to give up back-to-back 60-point halves, no, we can't have that. We cannot have that. So I'm looking for improvements on the defense. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm not. They're going to be all right offensively. But if we're going to win any game, if we're going to make 31, we got to play some defense. So, Randall, like I said, I liked the effort he put forth. I like the effort that Barrett is good, and Richard Robinson and Burks is good. But we got to play better defense. The whole team. We got to play better defense. It's got to be better. So I'm looking for improvements on that end. And, we're going to see what happens. Not everybody, performed well. Noel, I was a little disappointed. Not very good. He was on the floor 9 minutes, and that's about the extent he should have been last night. Knox is a player that needs rhythm. He needs to get in the flow. He needs to be and what it happened last night is that he never got into that rhythm. He just never did. He was on the floor 18 minutes. He was trying. You could see he was trying. He was trying on defense. He was trying. He just never got into the flow. When he does click into the flow, he's a different player. But last night he wasn't. He just wasn't in the flow. He wasn't in his rhythm, and he didn't get that ladder up, to get going. It never happened. So, I think though you're gonna have up and down with Kevin. So you're going to have games like that. Last night where he only scored 4 points. He was 2 of 5, wasn't too bad. He didn't hardly take any shots. He was trying to focus on the defense and the rebounding, and he got only 3 boards. But you got to learn. But then you're going to have games like he had where he hit 6 threes. You're going to have games like that with Kevin. If he gets this consistent minutes, which I think he will, say 20 minutes a game. He got 18 last night, but if he got like 20 minutes a game and he knows he's getting that every game, I think he's going to be all right. In fact, I know he's going to be all right. Okay. So it was a bad game. I didn't think I would be doing this year like this because last few years we get to the fourth quarter and I know the game is over. I turn it off. I can't watch any more bad basketball. I can't. And so I did that last night. I watched until I guess there was 3 minutes left or 2 minutes left in the fourth. I couldn't watch anymore, man. I couldn't. I was like, I can't watch us get spanked around like that and not playing defense. And these guys running a layup clinic on us. I can't do it. So anyway, we play Philly Saturday night. We're in New York. Not that it matters. And so we got a stretch. And like we said, we did say this too. Like, okay, so we got to remember that that Tom Thibodeau says going to take into the season to get his rotation together. And now I'm realizing not just in terms of who plays, but how they play. Not just in terms of who plays. So we got right now, let's see. The Knicks play Philly, then they play Milwaukee, and that's a back-to-back. Philly and Milwaukee, both at home though, so they don't got to travel. Tuesday they have Cleveland. We can't take anything for granted now. We gotta, Then Thursday next week Toronto. Then that's it. So for December they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in December. And so let's just see. And then, of course, January starts and there's probably 12, 13 games in January. So let's see what they do in December and let's see what they do in this first 10 to 15 games and how this pans out. I don't want to overreact to any game, especially the first game of the season. I just want them to get better on defense. I want to see some better defense than that. That was not good. Don't be giving up 60 points in a half. And then, twice. I know Indiana is good, but come on. Come on, man. So, anyway, let's move on with, next game, Philly. Let's see what happens. Shalom.